A single word can change the destiny of a nation. Not a law. Not an army. Not a revolution. One word. And the most unsettling part is that it has probably already happened to you today. Without realizing it. Without resisting it. Without even suspecting it. Because there is a form of influence so subtle that most people never notice it. It doesn't need to force you. It doesn't need to convince you. It doesn't need to argue with you. It only needs to change the frame through which you observe reality. And when that happens, the very same information begins to mean something completely different. Imagine a public square filled with people. Thousands. Perhaps tens of thousands. Some are worried. Others are angry. Many are confused. Then a figure steps onto a stage. They present no extraordinary evidence. They reveal no secret. They show no revolutionary proof. And something strange happens. They simply speak. Little by little, the atmosphere changes. The faces change. The emotions change. The interpretation of reality changes. The crowd leaves believing it made its own decision. But the real question is another one. What actually happened between the first word and the last? Most people believe language exists to describe reality. But that is only part of the story. Because words do more than describe the world. They also build versions of the world. And this is where the invisible mechanism begins. When you hear a word, your brain does not process only a sound. It activates associations, memories, emotions, experiences, identities, fears, hopes, entire systems of meaning. A single word can open an entire library inside your mind. And whoever understands that possesses an extraordinarily powerful tool. Imagine two headlines. First headline, the government implemented a security measure. Second headline, the government increased its control over citizens. Now pause. The facts could be exactly the same. Yet the feeling is completely different. Why? Because words function like lenses. They do not necessarily change the object being observed. They change the way you interpret it. And this is where one of the most important mechanisms of human communication appears, the battle for the frame. Not the battle over facts. The battle over the interpretation of facts. A belief rarely enters your mind as an order. It enters as an apparently innocent description. That is the detail that changes everything. Because when someone tells you what to think, resistance appears. But when someone redefines how something is named, that resistance often disappears. And this is where the story becomes dangerous. Because most people watch the conclusions. Very few watch the labels. A man sits in front of his phone. He scrolls. Video, video, video. Headline, headline, headline. Thousands of words pass through his mind every week. He remembers very few of them. But something remains. The feeling. The impression. The emotion attached to them. And that is precisely the point. Because words are not always trying to inform. Very often, they are trying to activate emotional states. Outrage. Hope. Fear. Pride. Belonging. Urgency. And once an emotion is activated, the brain begins interpreting information through that emotional state. This is where most people never look. The great leaders, communicators, strategists, and social movements throughout history understood something fundamental. People rarely act on pure data. They act on meaning. And meaning usually travels through language. Think about this. It is not the same to say, a group, as it is to say, a community. It's not the same. An error, as it is to say, a betrayal. It's not the same. A problem, as it is to say, a crisis. The words seem small, but they transform the entire emotional landscape. And when the emotional landscape changes, decisions change. Now comes the question very few people want to ask themselves. How many of your opinions were truly born from your own conclusions? And how many were born from the language used to present a situation to you? It is an uncomfortable question. Because it threatens one of humanity's favorite beliefs, the illusion of absolute independence. We like to imagine that we analyze everything rationally. But psychological reality is more complex. Human beings interpret before they analyze. We feel before we conclude. And very often, words determine what we feel. Imagine a room. At its center is an object. Now imagine that 5 people enter the room, one at a time. Before entering, each one receives a different description of the object. When they look at it, they see different things. Not because the object has changed, but because the mental frame has changed. And here comes a revelation that transforms the entire story. Human perception does not occur only in front of reality. It occurs between reality and the narrative surrounding it. The most visible forms of power attract attention. Armies, money, laws, technology. But there is another form of power that is far quieter. The ability to define words. Because whoever controls the labels often influences the conversation before it even begins. And this does not happen only in politics. It happens in businesses, families, the media, schools, social media, personal relationships. All of us participate in this dynamic. Every single one of us, whether we like it or not. Imagine a fish that has never left the water. Asking it what water is would be almost impossible. Because it lives inside it. Something very similar happens with language. We live inside words. We think with words. We interpret with words. We remember with words. We argue with words. We defend identities built with words. And that is precisely why language can become invisible. We do not observe it. We look through it. Most people believe words transmit thoughts. But perhaps, many times, words actually manufacture thoughts. Not completely. Not magically. Not as mind control. But by influencing which aspects of reality receive attention. And which remain hidden. And once you understand that, you begin listening differently. You no longer ask only, what are they saying? You begin asking, why did they choose exactly those words? And that is where mechanisms that were once invisible begin to emerge. Perhaps the greatest mistake of our time is believing that influence always looks like influence. Because it rarely does. The most effective influence does not enter shouting. It enters whispering. It does not immediately change your conclusions. It changes the frame from which you build those conclusions. And when that happens, reality itself seems to have changed. Even though the only thing that changed was the way it was named. That is why true mental freedom does not consist of distrusting everything. It consists of observing the words before obeying the emotions they awaken. Because the strongest chains are rarely made of iron. Sometimes they are made of words you have heard for so long, that you no longer notice they are still shaping the way you think. If this topic awakens something in your mind, then you still haven't seen the most important part. If you want to understand it clearly, I've prepared something very special for you, The Invisible War. You can find it in the link in the description below.